We need to make sure that this becomes a safer industry, and you can get critical mass and then standards do change. I think one of the other things that we do struggle with sometimes is because we're an operator, we're also depending on a lot of people. And you are depending on the ships which are available. You are depending on the flows which you have to move. And I think what has been a big learning for us over the last 5-6 years is to really start focusing on the things that you can control. And there's certain things you have to somehow accept that you simply cannot control. And that's sometimes very frustrating. But if you really double down on the things that you can control, that makes life a lot easier. We've had instances a couple of years ago where a lot of owners were very skeptical on investing in certain technologies to save fuel. And we've come in quite a few times and said, okay, if you're not willing to take the risk, then we are willing to take the risk. And we put down the capital and we get the savings back through the fuel savings. And that's, I think, where you as a bigger company can also, and an operator, even if you don't own the ships 100% and you don't control them 100%, you can still influence a lot. And I think that's what we've been trying to do a lot. And I think also as a consequence, the relationships that we've had with owners over the last 5 years have changed tremendously. And I said this in the beginning, where initially everything was very clear. This is the owner, this is the charterer. These lines are getting blurred, right? We are asking questions to the owner now, which never were asked, right? Do you have internet on board of ships? Because we think it's important for human welfare, but it's also important to get the data of the ships, right? And we are getting asked questions from our customers and say, like, but why did you take this ship? And why is the emissions A or B or C? That's a fascinating kind of development, I think, of what we've seen in the last 5 years, is that all these things start overlapping. And it also means that people actively need to work together. And it's not just a responsibility that you can say, well, decarbonizing shipping sits with the owners. They should do whatever and let me know when you're ready. I think that doesn't work anymore.
Now, if we just step into the future, what does the future look like? You've been a strong advocate for sustainability in the industry. And so I want to touch upon that a little bit. You talked about your role as an operator and as someone who has influence because of your size. But I'm wondering what organizations like the Global Maritime Forum and the Maersk Mc-Kinney Møller Center for Zero Carbon Shipping, what is their role in guiding this green transition?
I think, and this is a little bit the approach that we have taken here a couple of years back, where we really felt that it wasn't just about Cargill making a move or Cargill doing the right thing. We really felt that we had a role to play to transition the industry. And I think you can only do that when you find platforms where the industry is getting together. And I think it's tremendously important for organizations like the GMF to be there. And if you look what success they've had over the last years. And it's also because in the traditional way how the shipping industry has been set up, in all fairness, the charterer or the end user didn't really have a voice. And I think that's been problematic because the demands are now coming from the end user and they don't somehow have a forum to express those views and express somehow the commitment. And I think that has been the power of the Global Maritime Forum, where you get like-minded people together from different subsectors, right? Sometimes from containers or from bulk or from tankers. And to really say, you know what, actually, we need to do something about this. And this is around decarbonization, which we all know is by far the largest topic. But it goes also to things like human sustainability, right? If you look at what happened around the seafarer around COVID, that's just not acceptable. And I think people like us making that statement and say, we think it's not acceptable, we need to change, but we're also willing to be part of the change instead of just hiving it off to somebody else in the supply chain to go figure it out. I think it's been tremendously important. And so I think it's created this momentum of doing things. And I think that's what I like about the Global Maritime Forum. It's not just about talking, but about doing things. And you see all the initiatives that have come off that, right? We've got the Poseidon Principles, we got the Sea Cargo Charter, you got the Getting to Zero, you got the Green Corridors, and I can keep on going, and All Aboard Alliance, and you can keep on going and going. And I think it's those things that you create platforms for people to collaborate.